You are listening to the B.I.G. Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G. Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It is the big show.
Big up, big up.
And we're here. I don't know if it's going on Facebook. I tried to make it go on Facebook. I don't know if it's going on.
Hopefully,
It's on. It's on YouTube. It's here. It's a couple places you can hear us on the podcast. It's live on YouTube right now. You can hear us on the podcast tomorrow, and if you have Spotify, you get to see our mug.
Oh yeah, we live on YouTube. on Facebook. I'm looking at it right now.
Are we live?
Yep. Right on your page. All right, son.
Yeah, there we go. I got it. I don't even see it. Is we live? You got it.
Live, son.
All right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So we live. Anyway, the big show. We're back. I'm Calvin. That's my guy Garland over there. And for those of y'all that don't know, we were All Things Black for a while, and now we are the big show. So we talk sports mostly, but today we're going to get into some sports. But we also wanted to talk about the movie Sinners because it's the hot topic. Y'all out here fussing about Cassie and Diddy. Y'all need to take a break anyway. Just come on over and stop the gender wars. And come with us and do the smoke and stack wars. You know what I mean? We're gonna get some sports in there also.
Diddy and Cassie thing, man. Yeah, I don't care what happens. I don't care if he's exonerated or not. He's done. In terms of the court of public perception, in the terms of anything, it's obvious that dude, he used his power to groom her, to sexually take advantage of her and to manipulate her emotionally and to abuse her physically. We cannot forget that. And so I don't care what she reads in court. I don't care what people think. Oh, it seemed like it went in Diddy's way. I don't care. I don't care nothing about that. Diddy done. I'm not buying nothing from Bad Boy. I ain't listening to nothing from Diddy. In the court of public perception, Diddy's done.
Man, I don't even care no more because you know what? It's whatever. We done moved on. Anyway, what's going on with you, dog?
Man, outside of the Diddy-isms and stuff, man, just trying to make it through, man. Another week, boy. Been working. Real things, doing real things at work and stuff. But other than that, life is great. Celebrated a great Mother's Day. Shout out to my wife, my queen, Paula. She, well-deserved honor every year. I always have a joke that people be like, what you doing for your wife for Mother's Day? And I be like, I ain't doing nothing. She ain't my wife. I mean, what? She the mother of my children. That's their mother. I ain't got to do nothing for her. But, I do want to live here. And so we went out to Ocean Air down at Harbor East. Man, had a great meal and stuff, spent a lot of money. It was well worth it. Brought my mother-in-law along with me, my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and the girls, my daughters. We had a great dinner and stuff after church. And, Honor well-deserved, gave her a great gift for Mother's Day. Hey, fellas, you always looking for a Mother's Day gift? Day Spa. You can never go wrong with Day Spa certificate. She can go stay the whole day. I sent her to the Day Spa out at Turf Valley. It's one of the top ones. Got a sauna. They got a steam room. After they get their massage or treatments, they can hang out there all day, have lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever. Do it.
That's what's up.
What you do for Katina? What you do for Mom and Katina?
Hey man, I'm with you. Like I got my own motherfucking mother, so you know what
right.
I mean. Listen, then I got a daughter that's a mother too, so you know what I mean. I gotta take care of them. But no, my kids actually they get a card and a gift for Katina.
That's beautiful.
As a stepmother, mm-hmm. She's entrenched herself in our lives, and couldn't ask for a better partner.
Bonus mom.
So it's always great. We actually just went out to my in-laws' house, took my mother out there, and we celebrated Mother's
Western
Day.
Maryland.
Yeah. we
Mhm.
out in Frederick, actually Brunswick.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we were
Yeah.
out there just celebrating Mother's Day with her mom, my mom, and then my wife. So we just had a good time,
Yeah.
just chilling. And before we went, we had Saturday. We had the landlord. He came over
That's right.
Saturday, and then stayed till Sunday. So when his
That's
mother
right.
came in the door, he was, Happy Mother's Day, mommy, and
Oh
gave her a
snap.
little gift and stuff. So
Man, we got to get the landlord to do a drop for this show. He full talking. He can get a script. We need to work with him on the drop. We need to record a new intro for the show.
yeah,
Since he run the show, since
he gonna have
he
to.
controls when we record, he can at least do a drop for us.
Well, he gonna have to practice because when we FaceTimed his mother Sunday morning to get him to say Happy Mother's Day, he kept saying Happy Saturday, Mom. Then he was like, "What am I?" Then he would look and say, "What am I supposed to say?" Like, Mother's Day. Like, yeah, Happy Mother's Day.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
yeah.
Man, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. We're going to talk a little quick sports. Of course, we're going to talk centers and what have you. But let's start off with a big event from last night, the NFL 2025 schedule release. As you know, it was released last night. And the Baltimore Ravens opened the season on the road in Buffalo versus the Bills for the first game of Sunday Night Football. And so let's go through some particulars of the schedule. Strength of schedule: the Ravens have the ninth hardest schedule, rated hardest schedule in the league this year. They play three division winners. They play the NFC North. Also, they played in the toughest division last year, the AFC North as well, and they play the AFC East this year. And so they have some tough games on their schedule. They have four primetime games this year versus seven last year. Can you believe that? They had seven standalone games last year. This year, four. I'm not mad at that. I like less primetime games than I like primetime games and all. And so two are at home. They play the Lions on Monday Night Football. And then they play the Bengals on Thanksgiving Day. That's the night game. Then they have two on the road. Of course, I've already mentioned Buffalo to open the season for Sunday Night Football. And then they play Thursday Night Football. They go down to Miami. I know Baltimore's going to take over Miami on that Thursday night. So I know a lot of people going to be traveling down on Monday and Tuesday down to South Beach. And so there's going to be a lot of do's and twos down there in South Beach. So y'all get ready for Thursday Night Football. Bye week is week 7 this year. That's the earliest bye, Calvin, that they've had in about 2 seasons.
Yeah, yeah,
Last couple seasons, they've been like week 11, week 12, or 13 this year. Kind of like a perfect split right in the middle of the season. So their bye week is week 7. And they have a couple other games of note. Week 4, they out in Kansas City facing the Chiefs. That's a 425 game. They have the Rams, who won the Western Conference. The NFC West. They'll be playing them at home in week 6. I went to the last time that the Rams were here in Baltimore. That was the rain game where Tylen Wallace scored on the punt return.
hmm
Week 10, they head out to Purple Rain. They head out to Minneapolis to face the Minnesota Vikings, and they got AFC North games late. They played the Bengals. That first time that they played them this season will be that Thanksgiving game, and then they turn around and play them 2 weeks later in the first week of December, and then the Steelers. I don't think they play them into the third week of December, and then they turn around and play them the last game of the year, which would be in January. And so, two of the main contenders for the AFC North crown, they'll be playing very, very late in the season, which is kind of unusual that they're having these games back to back. But I'm sure that, this is TV and they want to stretch them out. In terms of just hardest schedules across all the NFL teams, the Giants have the hardest schedule, followed by the Bears and Lions. They're tied for second with the hardest schedule. That's followed by the Eagles. And then you have the Cowboys and the Packers ending up in that top 5 of teams with the hardest schedules this year. And so, let's talk about the Ravens schedule. What's your thoughts on that, looking at that schedule?
yeah. So you mentioned the early bye week. We generally don't have an early bye week. Bye week usually comes late, but they also are front loading a lot of their home games. If you remember the last
Yes.
couple years, and one of the reasons why I always said the schedule was favorable for them is because they ended the season with a lot of home games. This year, they're ending three of the last four games are on the road. And those,
Mhm.
as you know, as we
As a matter of
know,
fact, the last two games are on the road. The Packers and the Steelers.
yeah, and as we know, the Ravens always come down to the last few weeks, and it's critical to be home. So they're going to be on the road. So hopefully they can do something with that. Especially going, you're talking about going to Green Bay and going to Pittsburgh in late December. So they might be some tough games. They may actually be primetime games. They're to be determined
Yeah, that would
games
be
right now.
determined
So
games.
they
Hmm.
could be primetime games. And speaking of primetime, Ravens play well primetime. I know a
Yes.
lot of people don't like that. A lot of people do like that they've lessened the primetime games. I like when they get primetime. They play extremely well in primetime, especially on the road. So I would want them to play more primetime games, but I'm fine with it. Now, with all that being said, I think the schedule is actually pretty good. The schedule is front loaded and back loaded with some tougher teams. That middle is just a little soft. And I hate to say soft because it's the
Hmm.
NFL and you're talking about your boy Harbaugh, so they could drop 2, 3 games
He's
just
good
because
for
of
at
that.
least 2 or 3 losses a year.
But that middle of the schedule looks pretty favorable. When you come off that bye week, that stretch looks pretty favorable. I mean, you got some teams in there that could cause you some problems, but you're looking at teams like Miami, like Cleveland,
Jets.
Jets, Patriots. I mean, you got some games that are pretty favorable in there. So yeah, I don't think the schedule's bad. I think it's all about these first 6 games before that bye week. I think these home games are going to be critical. The Ravens have the opportunity to go undefeated at home, which would be great because they got some heavy hitters at home at the beginning. Especially you're talking about the Rams, you're talking about the Lions, you got the Bengals at home
Hmm.
eventually, but they got to get through these home games. It was some of the Texans. It's the Texans
Yeah,
coming in.
Texans come in.
So if they can go 4-2 in these first 6, and I'm tossing up that Bills Chiefs game, those 2 games, because I actually think they can beat both of them. I think that Bills game is going to be tough opening week in Buffalo. You want your revenge. Although they should have beat Kansas City last year in the same situation, won the revenge opening game. I see them beating Kansas City though.
Hmm. Okay.
But I got them.
You ready
I
to
don't
put a
even.
prediction? Don't put no
Yeah,
prediction
yeah.
in this
I'm
early.
ready. I'm ready. I'm
Go
ready.
ahead then. Go ahead.
I'm ready to put a prediction in. I got them being, I like you at best and at worst. At worst, I got them going 13-4. At best, 14-3.
Ooh.
The Ravens
Ooh.
are one of the most complete
Ooh.
teams in the NFL.
Okay.
And we've said it every year. I really, really think this is their best opportunity.
You know what? We forgot they signed DeAndre Hopkins over with the thing too. And so I'm
Most
not ready.
complete team in the
Yeah, I'm
NFL.
not ready to predict yet, but yeah, I agree with you. They do have those first 5 or 6 games are pretty critical. You got Bills, Browns, Lions, Chiefs, Texans, and Rams. That's a heck of a start off. Several of those at home. I mean, the
That
Browns
that
game is at
Lions,
home,
yeah,
Lions
that
game is
Lions
at
game,
home,
Texans
Texans
game,
game
and
is at
Rams
home,
game.
and Rams
Oh,
game is at home.
you got
And
to win
so
those
you got to
games.
win those games. But I think the Ravens will do what they're supposed to do. You're right. They're a good team. Hopefully, they come out of training camp with no major injuries. If they need to add a piece here or there, they'll be able to do that. And I think they'll be ready by the start of the season. Lamar Jackson's career record in primetime games is 19-5. This includes a 11-1 record in his last 12 appearances. His 79% primetime winning percentage is the best of any quarterback with 15 or more starts since the 1970 merger, and that's according to Yahoo Sports. And so, yeah, you're right. Lamar does well in these primetime games. Yeah, 4 is good. I think it's great for them. They don't have to have that crazy thing last year where they had 3 games in 10 days, but they won all 3 of those
They
games.
won them.
As a
They
matter of
won them.
fact, and so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Ravens schedule looking good.
You're not ready to go out there yet?
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I just get through training camp. No injuries, although they lost our Darius Washington for the year with a torn Achilles. They drafted Malachi Starks, and so he was going to start anyway. But you want as much players as you can have there. I know on the text line I got voted down of them going after uh, Clowney, who was just let go from
You didn't
the
necessarily.
I
You didn't
did.
necessarily get
He
voted
he
down.
ain't want us. He ain't want us. We don't want him. Like what? We don't want weapons now. We don't want soldiers. The man had two great years here. We don't. He's still young. We don't want some more. We don't want all the weapons we can get.
We like to get them young boys that work.
Yeah, they're gonna get that work, but hey, we'll see in training camp. Because like they say, we get to training camp. Let's see if they got it, and if not, then we know Clowney's gonna be here. And so I'm all for all the weapons you can get. You can't have too many pass rushers in this league. And so, because Oway, yeah, he had 10 sacks, but they were the most unremarkable 10 sacks ever.
Ravens were the number two in sacks last year.
What's the saying? There's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics.
Empty stats like we talk about Gunnar Henderson home runs.
Yeah.
Empty statistics.
Empty. It's like a Slurpee, empty calories. And so we'll see what happens with that. Hey man, let's talk about a little NBA real quick. We got a changing of the guard coming up. The Dallas man. Well, first let's talk about the draft lottery. The Mavericks won the draft lottery on Monday and will more than likely select Cooper Flag with the first pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Now, the Mavs had a 1.8% chance of winning the lottery, which led to a lot of conspiracy theorists saying that the lottery was fixed. And so, what's your take on this, Calvin? You think the NBA draft lottery was rigged? You think it's ever been rigged?
I don't know if the lottery's been rigged, but I do know that the Washington Wizards, the district, are the most snake-bitten team.
Yo, they just need to stop. They just need to go ahead and dissolve as a team.
They should just go ahead and get into the WNBA draft with the Mystics. They probably
they would lose that too. They would lose that every year. How do you have? They had the best chance. They had the highest percentage to win the draft, and they only get the sixth pick.
Yeah,
the sixth pick.
You cannot fire Michael Jordan and expect the NBA gods will be favorable to you. They are still suffering. They haven't been the same since. They haven't been right since then. They haven't been right since then.
Yeah, they need a voodoo priestess or something to come in and do something at Draft Central when they get ready to go into these things, because they need to work a mojo off of this team, because they're snake bitten. It's no snake. I feel bad for them. They genuinely tried to tank this year at some points so they could have the higher percentage to get Cooper Flag. And despite that, as soon as the draft started, the lottery started, I text everybody on the line and say they're not going to get the top pick. They're not going to get the top pick.
They were better when they were the Bullets.
Right. Maybe they need to go back to being the Bullets and just say, screw everybody. We don't care what y'all say. We're going to be the Bullets. Some wizards. Y'all can't work no spell to get the top draft pick?
Yeah.
And then when y'all get the top draft pick, y'all pick trash. Where was that boy that they picked out of Georgia when Jordan was there? He out here cussing everybody out now.
They just need to get some veteran needs to take a chance on them and say, I'm gonna go ahead and go to DC, and then I'll bring a couple players with me.
Ain't gonna do it.
KD, they had the shot at KD, but KD
ain't never going there. KD ain't never going there.
KD was like,
I grew up around there. What the heck would I want to pay for the Wizards for?
You could be the next Wes Unseld.
Oh my Lord!
The next
and that crappy school he had.
The next Calvin Chaney
on Hilton Parkway. The next Calvin Chaney. Yeah, he
The
could be
next Tom Gugliotta.
right.
Googs.
He could be the next Elvin Hayes. He could be the next
George Mirasan.
Jeff Malone.
Manute Bull. Come on, Garland.
Bro, it was some drafts where they just picked the wrong. One day we're gonna go through the history of the Wizards Bullets draft, and it's gonna be so crazy. The players that they took over some players that are in the top 50 NBA players of all time in the top 75 that they
So
passed over. So
I read a stat that said each of the last I don't remember how many years NBA champions have at least two Wizards on their roster.
yeah, it's been Calvin. The last time they really meant something, I think I was like in the fourth or fifth grade when when they had Elvin Hayes and Wes Unseld. This was when they went to back NBA finals, and they won one year against the Seattle Supersonics, and then they lost the next year against the Supersonics. Man, and that they didn't even have the 3-point shot then.
You mean to tell me you did not believe in the John Wall Bradley Beal combination?
John Wall was such trash, and I told you how I felt about Brad Beal. Anyway,
He wasn't trash.
yeah,
He was just
yeah, he was
often injured.
he was
He was
trash.
trash.
And yeah, no, the lottery can't be fixed. I mean, this is a $1 billion
Yeah, it's
industry, and you think the Wizards want to not get the top draft pick? You think that the commissioner came to the owner of the Wizards and said, "Hey, look, we're gonna rig this. You guys are not gonna get the Cooper flag this year. Is that okay?" And you think they went along with that? I don't think so. And so, yeah, it's just the Wizards. They just can't get it together. Now, for the second season in a row, Anthony Edwards he has disposed of another aging NBA legend in the playoffs. Last year, it was KD and the Suns. This year, he caught two bodies. Calvin,
caught
Steph
two.
Curry. He caught two. Steph Curry and LeBron James. And
Well,
so,
actually, he caught four because
who else?
Doncic
Oh,
caught him
Duke,
last.
Luca.
Yeah, Luca caught him last year, and he caught Luca this
I
year.
forgot all about
And
Luca.
and you got to add Draymond to the agent star. I
Oh,
mean,
come.
whether you got to add him, you got to add
I'm
him.
talking about people that can score.
You he's a major contributor to the Warriors
Yeah,
rings.
he
So
is
you
to
got to
kicking
add him.
people in the nuts,
You
and
got
so anyway, so and then you got Shea Gilgis Alexander out there with OKC. He has a 3-2 lead with his team over the Nuggets, and the game's best player, Jokic. And so, is it time to rearrange the top players in the game?
Well, it depends on who you consider top players in the game. Because
I mean, let's
Edwards
and
is a top player in the game.
and
He's a
we
top
got to
player.
put Ant up there. We got to
Yeah,
put
absolutely.
SGA up there.
Absolutely, but they've been put
This is
up there, so
two,
we're
three
not
years in a
rearranging.
row.
Yeah, we're not rearranging. They've already been put up there. Those
You
two
got
have already been
you
put up
got
there.
people still holding on to LeBron, Calvin Coates. You got people still holding on to LeBron, saying LeBron is one of the top players out here.
Top 20, top 15,
Okay, all right,
maybe.
we can go with that. We can go with that. Tyrese Halliburton, he's leading the Pacers back to the Eastern Conference Finals with a 4-1 series win over the number one
Despite his
seeded.
daddy.
Despite his daddy. Now I guess his daddy can come to the games now because his daddy was acting up the last time. They await the winner of the Knicks Celtics series, with the Celtics winning last night's game despite losing Jason Tatum for the remainder of the playoffs. I was sad to
Yeah.
see, and possibly the entire 2025-26 season due to an Achilles tear. And so, do the Knicks close out this series tomorrow in 6, or do the Celtics come back and win this in 7?
It is Nick like to let the Celtics come back after being down 3-1. It is Nick like to let the Celtics come back from
Yeah.
3-1 and eliminate them. I don't know, man. I don't know. And they beat them badly yesterday. They didn't. It wasn't like they just barely won that game. They beat them pretty handily without Jason Tatum, and I believe Jalen Brown even fouled out in that game. Like they beat them pretty
This
bad.
yeah no no what's his face fouled out. Oh my
Oh,
god.
Jalen Brunson. My bad. Jalen
Jalen
Brunson fouled
Brunson
out.
fouled
Right,
out.
right, right.
Yeah, Jalen
But
Brunson fouled out
yeah,
that game.
man. I don't know. I think the Knicks will pull it out, but it wasn't a good showing for them last night.
It
So
was not. I mean, I still think the Celtics are a good team. they could put it together. I don't know if they could beat the Pacers without Jason Tatum. Pacers are just
Yeah.
pretty good. Everybody can score, and they stretch the floor and they play very well together. I think that would be a tall task for even the Knicks to do it as well. And so we'll see what happens. But if the Knicks lose, I think New York is going to just blow a gasket. I mean, it's going to be a lot of Tims. Tim's and chopped cheese is going to be going crazy. You
Won't be
know,
won't be no Miracle on 34th Street. I'm not going up to New York for Christmas this year.
Gonna be a lot of
Not if the
sun. What's
Knicks
going
lose.
on, son? Can you believe this, son? They bugging, son. What they doing, son? They bugging, son. Yeah, so we'll see. Major League Baseball. Pete Rose was removed from Major League Baseball's permanent ineligibility list, along with shoeless Joe Jackson. This week, Rose, who died in September at the age of 83, played for the Reds in 19 of his 24 seasons, winning two of his three World Series championships with his hometown team. And his career was tarnished by a gambling scandal that led to a permanent ban back in August of 1989. An investigation that was commissioned by the league concluded that Rose um, repeatedly bet on the Reds as a player and a manager of the team from 1985 through 1987, which is a violation of the longstanding Major League Baseball rule. Rob Manfred, who is the commissioner, he had already said that they were going to take people off the ineligible list after they passed away. It's no sense to keeping them on the list once they're gone. And so, do you think Rose is going to be voted into Baseball Hall of Fame?
Absolutely, I think he's going to be, and he should be. However, he actually bet on his team. Let Barry
It's,
Bonds in the Hall of Fame. Let Roger
yeah,
Clemens in the
yeah,
Hall of
yeah,
Fame.
yeah, yeah. If
Let
we
Mark
doing that,
McGuire in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, to
Let
me,
Rafael Palmeiro in the Hall of
yeah,
Fame. Like
yeah,
he
yeah,
bet on his team.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
come on,
If
come
they
on.
put Rose in, you better put
You
Bonds
gotta
and
put him
Clemens
in.
and all
You
them in the
gotta put
same
him in.
class. You
And I
got to put them
believe Rose should get in. I'm not
in.
saying that Rose can only get in if they get in. I believe Rose. I've always believed Pete Rose should be in there. But he did bet on his team, and that's one of those. It should be a kill switch type of violation. But if
Hmm.
you're gonna bring them back and let them in, even if it's posthumously, you got to let these other guys in also. You got
Oh,
to
you use that big word. Say it again. Pause.
posthumously, yeah.
Thank you, sir. I was trying to use that, and I just went and got away from it. I'm like, I cannot say this word. All right. Check out the big words on Calvin. That's that city college education. So, I'm zone school. All right. Man, let's get into the B.I.G. review of Sinners. And so Sinners
Sinners.
is a 2025 American musical horror film produced, written, and directed by Ryan Coogler, who also, of course, did Black Panther and several other great movies. Um,
And it
Fruitvale
has
Station is
Ironheart
one of
coming
my
out this summer.
yeah, Ironheart and Fruitvale Station is probably one of my favorite of his films as well. Set in 1932 in the Mississippi Delta, the film stars Michael B. Jordan in dual roles. We know him. What was his character in The Wire?
Um, oh, sh-
Ooh.
little young boy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Anyway, they killed him.
I'll think of it later.
In dual roles as twin brothers, Smoke and Stack Moore, who return to their hometown to start again, only to be confronted by a supernatural evil. After years spent working for the Chicago mob and using money stolen from gangsters, they purchase a sawmill from a racist landowner to start a juke joint for the local black community. And their cousin, Sammy, an inspiring guitarist, joins them despite his pastor father warning that blues music is supernatural. And so it was a very good movie. If you've not been to see the movie, please go see it. We are going to talk some spoilers, and so if you don't want to know any spoilers, you
Spoiler
might
alert.
want to come back for Come On Yo. And so um, let's talk about some themes, Calvin, that we saw in the movie. And I think one of the biggest themes that I saw is, it's good versus evil, or better yet, in places where you have light, you always going to have dark. Like they even talk about that in the opening scene, that you had all of these cultural expressions happening through different cultures, through the Irish, through the Navajo Indian, through African people and the early uh, Africans that were brought to America as slaves. And when you always had this celebration, you had light there. There was always a dark presence there trying to take over. And so, it's always these forces of good versus evil, dark versus light. Um, and one of the biggest things, and I want to hear your feedback on this, to me, it's like white people love black cultural expression. They love our music. They love our dance. They love to eat the food, but they hate black people. What you think? Because I think that was something that was kind of shown in the movie. That they had this discussion about music and how white people, they accept the music, but they don't accept the people. I think Kendrick Lamar said it in one of his songs. How can you love my culture but you hate me? And this is not something that is just started. It's white people have always been drawn to black cultural expression, but don't necessarily have a love for the people that create it.
Yeah, so the saying that's been going around at least with the last 20 or 30 years, that it's always everybody wants to be black until it's time to be black. Like
Right.
we've been we've been
Paul
saying
Mooney
that
said that about
forever, forever, forever.
Paul
Um,
Mooney said that about I forgot the actor when he was dating Whoopi Goldberg. He said, yeah, he
Ted
wanted to
Danson.
be, Ted Danson. He said he wanted to be a nigga too. He had to be a nigga.
Yeah, it's just it's but so just bringing that back to the movie.
Hmm.
I'm sure everybody's seen a lot of the think pieces or everyone's theories, and it's probably giving you some more insight. But let me tell you what my initial thought was, just seeing it before I could see any of the other things in regards to what Garland's talking about, as far as everyone loving black culture. um if you notice, the when and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, the main character, the devil,
Hmm.
comes up, they're coming up playing music, and they want to get in
Right.
to play their music, because it's always we like what you're doing, now we want to come in and take it over, and think we can do it or do it better, when their music was just bland to the
Right.
black ear. Now to them, they love the music. Even in the scene where they were dancing, when they were dancing, they got everybody from the inside, they turned them into vampires, and they were dancing. To me, I was looking at it like, yeah, they trying to dance like black people were inside, but they ain't got no rhythm. They
Right.
were not dancing on beat. Like, these are just surface things, but and I completely agree with you. Now there was one thing that I did listen to, and they were talking about the Asians, and they were
Right.
talking about how the setup was back in that time, where one side they were selling the whites, and the other side of the street they were selling the blacks, and how they had to go back and forth. That's why one girl was here, the daughter was
Hmm.
here, and the mother was here. But they also mentioned that, she was the Asian girl was with him. She was with him until she felt like she wanted to stand up for something, instead of doing it for, because black people, we have a tendency to, or not a tendency, I want to say, we have what we feel like is a duty to do what's the greater good for everyone.
Sure.
And that's why one of the reasons why we're so tired right now when it comes to politics, because we've been putting ourselves out there for everyone, and no one puts it out for us. But anyway,
True.
we feel that duty to do things for the greater good. But when the greater good was, when the Asian lady was faced with the greater good, what did she do? She invited them in. She invited them to the death. She was being extremely selfish, extremely, this is about me and my family. Instead of, we can all survive this. We can survive this tonight. But she didn't want to listen to it. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm
It's
with you.
like, yeah, I can be with you in commerce. I can take your money, I can
Mm-hmm.
serve you, but in the end, it's about my own self interest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking out for the interests of everyone that was in the juke joint that was trapped by the vampires, she looked out for her own interests
Her
in
own
terms of
interests.
with her husband. And so, yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm with you into it. It doesn't benefit me anymore.
Even in the face of insurmountable odds, there was nothing that she could
Hmm.
literally do inviting them in to save her daughter at that moment. She knew
Sure.
inviting them in, she was going to die. I mean, she, because her focus was her husband. What is she going to do? Well, there's nothing you can do with them. You see what they can do. I mean, it's just it really that. Now that was one of the things that when they said it, it bothered me when she did it, but when they said it, I was like, yeah, yeah. It's like black people can, who can we depend on other than one another?
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Now, one of the things I was sharing with Calvin before we started the show, I was talking a little bit about the setting of where this story takes place, Clarksdale, Mississippi. A lot of people don't know that it was in Clarksdale, particularly Clarksdale County. It's where Emmett Till was murdered. The town of Money, Mississippi was a town, a setting where he was sent for the summer and he was murdered by several white people for whistling at a white woman. And so Clarksdale, it's very significant also in the being the birthplace of the blues. What we know is the blues was started on one of the plantations, Sunflower Plantation in the Mississippi Delta in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And so this connection to Clarksdale in the music was very real. As a matter of fact, in one of the scenes, I think it was either, it might have been Smoke, where he was talking about Sammy having these dreams of achieving, and he was telling Sammy, you need to get to a place like Mount Bayou. Mount Bayou was the first black town built in Mississippi by former slaves. And so there's this, historical connection to the story where they were just not pulling things out the air. But one of the things, Calvin, that Sammy wanted to know was about what was the North like, getting to the North. And he talked about, what was it like in Chicago? It got to be better than it is in Mississippi. And Smoke and Stack was basically like, no, it's just Mississippi, but they speak to you up there. And they were part of this great migration. This is how the blues and a lot of our people from the South. I know my people are from my father's people from Virginia. They were part of the Great Migration in the '40s, coming north to look for jobs. And my grandparents had my father. They had family in D.C. and my father was born in D.C. and then they moved to Baltimore where they established family. I'm not sure if your family's from the South, Calvin, and they came up north to, places like Baltimore and Philly, and you had people coming out of Mississippi and the Delta areas going to Chicago or going to Cleveland, places like that. And so this connectedness of we were trying to escape Jim Crow in the South, trying to escape racism and thinking we made it by getting to the North and realizing that the racism was more covert as opposed to overt that they left in the South. And so, do you relate to that? Any of your family members, people coming from the South to the North?
Yeah, but I don't have many stories, but I do have North Carolina roots coming from my grandmother and to my great grandparents who I've never met.
Sure,
But I do have North Carolina roots. My mother would speak more on that
sure.
when we've talked. But yeah, I do have some Carolina roots in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and so there was this big pipe dream, but it really was this movement of 7 million people between 1900 up to the 1970s relocated black people relocated out of the South up to the North. And with that, we brought our music, we brought the blues, we brought gospel, we brought, music out of the church, we brought the black experience, we brought the soul food, we brought athletics. Some of our greatest athletes came out of the Great Migration. Bill Russell, he was born and raised in Louisiana, and his family. You had a lot of people from Louisiana go to California as part of the Great Migration, moving to the Bay Area. Frank Robinson. You had Jackie Robinson, his family moving to not the Bay Area, but to the areas around Los Angeles. And so you had a lot of people moving to the West to work in um, the war industry, building planes, all of those different things. You have people coming out of the Carolinas and the Virginias and the Floridas coming right up the East Coast, going to, like I said, Baltimore, Philly, Newark, New Jersey, New York City, Boston, places like that. And so we brought our culture, we brought our music and all those different things with us to the North, although the North was not as accepting as is like they were not in the South. One of the major things that we saw in the movie was this interconnectedness of black cultural expression, the juke joint scene where Sammy is singing, and you see all these different images linking it to Africa, the drumming, the dancing, the blues. We saw rock and roll. We saw funk. I thought that was George Clinton that came out there with the guitar at one point. We saw the connection to hip hop. This showing that there's nothing new under the sun in terms of our link to our foundation. What did you think about that scene? You know, because I thought it was very pivotal, him showing this link of how it's all interconnected in our lives.
Yeah. So, and it's another thing that the saying is that music is the universal language, but it also shows that black people are pioneers when it comes to pretty much everything when it becomes
There
art
you
and
go.
entertainment. You're talking about the dancing and how the dancing goes from African dance to hip hop dance. You're talking about the musical that you saw, like you said, you thought it was Bootsy coming out with the guitar.
Right, right,
The hip hop, the rap, the DJing. You
right.
saw the DJing in there. So it's always connected. There's even and they didn't show it here, but they talk about the washboard that used to come out. I've heard
Right.
stories about the washboard that was out back in the day where of course they were there to wash, but black people started using them and making
As an
music out of
instrument,
them. They
right?
were
Hmm.
instruments. So when you would see juke joints and or they would have a washboard would be a musical instrument. They weren't
Hmm.
used to using it to wash. So yeah, I definitely believe
Yeah,
into
you
that.
know, it's crazy because I was watching a documentary, just a part of it. I think PBS did something on funk music. And so everybody was just saying the same thing, that it's just a part of our DNA. Funk, who we are, style, just dopeness, just who it's just who we are. It's just who we are as black people. We just got this expression. I'm sure Calvin, if I gave you a drum for a little bit, you probably can start banging out some patterns and thoughts. It is just us. It's in us.
It's
It's
in
a
us.
part of us. It's a part of our rhythm. It's how we live life. It just flows out of the black experience. And it's so in tune with who we are. A lot of times we just take it as excuse me, it's disposable a lot of times because we're so used to doing it.
Hmm.
It's like, it's just who we are. I've seen better. I've heard better and stuff. It's like when sometimes when I think about when we watch sports, like for instance, when I was in college at Hampton, and we didn't have the best players at Hampton, but we just kind of just took it as like, it's just that's who we are. We play ball. That's who we are. And so we
So
didn't
we
get
are.
excited with like white people do when they at these games. They be going crazy. Ah! At the HBCUs, we just be like, yeah, because it's a part of us. We seen somebody jump up and touch the top of the backboard, and he ain't even go to college. He ain't got no teeth, but we know him, and so it's a part of our black cultural expression, which is very important, and especially the birthplace of the blues being Sunflower Plantation, and how this music, blues is kind of like, I guess, the foundation. It leads to jazz, it leads to rock and roll, it leads to soul music, it leads to
Leads to
funk,
country music.
yeah, country music. Hey, we even break off from there, country, gospel, and then you get into disco, you get into um, hip hop.
You
All
get
of
in
those
there,
particular
yeah. You get
things.
in the rap.
Yeah, all of that connection in terms of that time and period to what we're doing now. And so, just overall, man, what was your thought of the film, man?
Yeah, it was. And just real quick, I used to, and I don't know if anyone else said it, but I used to think about rap and hip hop at the beginning stages as just like poetic blues, because what did blues talk about?
Definitely,
Blues just talked about the
definitely.
struggles and the pain and all, and it's called blues. And the early rap, that's what that was. It was about our community. It wasn't battle rap. Well, it did become battle rap, but
Yeah,
early rap was
yeah.
more about the concrete jungle of New York that we live in,
Sure,
what we
sure,
have to go
definitely.
through. So I'm so into this, and I keep it quiet nowadays, but I'm so into what's going on in the world and how this country is looking, that what I saw in that movie, and I enjoyed it. I saw it twice. I don't know how many times you saw it,
Okay.
but I saw it twice. Um,
Once legally and once illegally.
yeah, that's what I did. So
Yeah,
mind your business. Don't worry
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Stop putting me.
Don't worry about
Man,
us.
stop putting me out there.
I gave Ron
um,
and them my money once. Okay.
um, when he came and he spoke that truth to him, although he had ulterior motives, he spoke that truth. They don't love you. They just going
Right.
to use you. They just going to use you, Golden Brown. They don't love you. They're going to take everything from you,
Yeah.
and then when they're finished with you, they're just going to discard you. What does that sound like? That sounds like somebody's campaign promises to black people this year. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds just like it. Or what about you have the ally, you have the white girl that you call family, the ally, but who was the one that went out there and thought she could talk to him? Who are the people that are always having these marches after they've already done something wrong? Then they have these
Mm-hmm.
marches, and what do? They assimilate back to their
Who
own
they are.
culture and their
Mm-hmm.
own roots, because that's how it started. We had turned them away. We said no, we rejected them, but she went out there, and then she was the one that came back in. What do they call them? The black man's kryptonite, because she was the one that said, "Oh, y'all can let me in," and it was like, you ain't never had to be invited in before, but
Right.
they let her in. So and then when I talked
You know that's
about,
Josh Allen's girlfriend, right?
I do know,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talked about earlier how black people feel like, we need to save everyone, we need to save the world. There's something else that black people don't play about. We don't play about our money. So when he was out there trying to get in, they weren't trying to let him in, but when he was like, well, can I get paid? Black people know, I don't play about that money.
Right. Right.
Well, we don't play, and we saw when Smoke did that a little earlier with the young
Mm-hmm.
girl when he
Right.
had her negotiating. He was like, "No, now you're not just gonna settle for that. So we got to do some negotiation." Smoke didn't play about that money. Black people need to get paid. We need to have financial literacy. There were so many just small nuances in there. And let me just say this: you listen to Ryan Coogler talk, he
Mm-hmm.
is South
Right.
LA,
Right.
straight out the. You better take that to the store.
Right.
He's straight, but the man is brilliant. I mean, some of the smaller things in there, like having Smoking Stack one dressed like an Irish gangster, the other one dressed like the Italian mob, just to show
Right.
which mobs that they were into. Um, just things like the black people paying with not only regular cash but wooden nickels, just going back in the
Playing with that
day,
sharecropper money.
and just being authentic and real to what was going on. I mean, it's just so much in there. Like it's such a great movie. I mean, it has so many things in there, and even if you don't like the story, even if you're not into vampires, it was just an entertaining watch. Just the visuals, just the music of it. And let's not forget, Michael B. Jordan played two parts,
Right.
two parts in the movie.
Right.
Just the challenge of that. And then not even making it, this is no longer old school special effects. The CGI was amazing in there. Another thing, this also goes back to and I need to watch it again because I haven't seen it in 20, 30, maybe 40 years. But you remember the movie Crossroads? That was
Yes.
also about
Mm-hmm.
a guitarist that apparently
Yeah.
sold his soul to the
Sold his
devil.
soul to the
So
devil. Yeah.
think think I may have to go back and
Yeah.
watch that
You
again.
know, I mean, Michael B. Jordan, he was cool. I mean, but let's not forget Eddie Murphy played five people in the movie. But anyway.
That a comedy. Come
He
on,
played five
man.
people in the movie,
Come on,
okay?
man. Don't you why you doing Mike like that? Don't do Mike like that.
Oh my god. But yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think it's always just love to see beautiful black images in film and on TV. It's great to look at something and see myself reflected, not in terms of the character, but just in terms of the skin tone and the people. I just thought it was great acting. I thought it was well written. I love the historical connections that obviously they did their research and they got it
Yeah,
right with this time period, and what the Mississippi Delta was like, and that connection of the music to who we are and our culture, and how people take our culture, they exploit it, and then they throw it away, and the impact of people moving and looking for opportunities and all of those things. I think it was just great, from the acting to the music to the writing. Just a very super strong movie, and so just on that level alone, I think it is a must see. Just go spend some time with it.
yeah.
Although you
Check it
do
out.
have these Easter eggs in it, you even got to go that deep. Just enjoy it for pure
Just enjoy the
entertainment purpose.
movie.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
enjoy
you
it.
don't have to look for any symbolism. If you see it,
Mm-mm.
you see it. If you
Right.
don't, you
If you
don't.
don't,
You don't
I'm
have
sure
to
there's a
feel
thousand
left out.
things that we
Yeah.
probably missed in looking at it. Just looking. I just want to enjoy it.
Exactly. That's why I'm trying to speak from when I initially saw it because I've
Right.
been on TikTok and everywhere else and heard
Right.
everything
Yeah,
now.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he looked to the right, that meant he was looking at the Son of God, and then he put his left hand. I ain't, bro. It ain't all that deep. It
You
was just
know
a good
that
movie.
that grass that they were in, that grass didn't grow anywhere else
Right.
but back in the 1930s down there.
Right.
It's called nigger grass.
Right.
Yeah, they
Right.
don't got that nowhere else.
Right. Yeah. If you want that, go to TikTok and get all that. Hey man, we at the part of the show that everybody loves. Come on, yo. So go ahead, Cal. Lead us off and come on, yo.
Yeah, real quick. If you saw my Facebook post when I invited you here, it was saying, "Are you tired of Cassie and Diddy?" And I talked about it in the beginning
Uh,
because I'm gonna tell you this, and it's not that I'm tired of it. It's
mhm.
an interesting watch, although they're not letting anything in the courtroom. You have to get it secondhand by listening to
Yeah.
anyone that's been there or any of the
Yeah.
news
You
reports.
can't see
But
this on court TV.
yeah, but come on, yo. Why are y'all arguing over them people? Women are feeling some type of way because guys are saying that Cassie should have did this. Guys are feeling some type of way because women are saying that he's just disgusting. Who cares? Let this court case play out
Right.
because to be very honest, it's not going to affect any of us but the more knowledge that we know. And the more things we find out about Diddy, the more we hate him. I
Right.
mean, let's just be honest. We can go ahead and say whatever we want about any of them, but why are y'all fussing amongst each other? Come on, yo.
Right.
Chill out, ladies and gentlemen. It's it these are millionaires accusing millionaires of being bad millionaires.
Right.
And somebody's just trying to send another millionaire to jail. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, I don't care. I'm listening to it. I'm interested in it, but it's not dictating what I do. I'm not going to be mad at anyone else's opinion of it. It's just your opinion. It's your opinion. If you
Right.
felt like she could have said no, then you felt like it. If you felt like she could have left, then you felt like it. I mean, come on, yo. Chill
Yeah.
out, y'all.
It's like
Just relax.
it's blaming a rape victim. It was her fault that she got raped. If she wasn't dressed like that, she wouldn't have got raped. Or she ain't go
It's just
in the store,
ridiculous.
she went. No, I mean it's obvious, and I said it at the beginning too. He manipulated someone who
He's a
wanted
bad
stardom.
man.
He was a bad man.
He's a
He's
bad man.
he manipulated someone, used his power and his wealth as a tool to um, run this person's life, to abuse her. and physically abused her and sexually abused her and all of these things. And
And
yeah,
we fussing like we been on a remix or something. Y'all on a
yeah,
remix? Somebody on a remix? Somebody
this this is the remix.
somebody got a bad boy jersey?
Right, that's what I'm
Got bad boy
saying.
jersey?
you got
Just
you got what you got a notorious B.I.G poster that you need to sign or something. What you?
you, you in the video? Who's hot? Who's not? Tell me who's hot. You in the video?
When you gonna take that,
You
take that?
shiny suit man? You with shiny suit man? I mean, chill out, y'all.
Yeah,
Chill
yeah,
out.
yeah. Chill, chill. All right, I got two come on yos. My first come on yo is come on yo with these rookie camp narratives. All right, now look y'all, look. I know people was upset because Shador Sanders did not get drafted in the first round. They at rookie camps. You would think that Shador Sanders was the second coming of Johnny Unitas at the rookie camp. Calvin, they out here throwing in shorts and t-shirts. He ain't faced no
Big
rush
helmet.
and
Big
big
helmet.
helmets. He ain't out here faced no pressure from nobody. Ain't none of the bosses then chased him down. Ain't none of these big defensive linemen. Ain't Oway. Ain't nobody chased him. He just standing back there throwing freely. They just throwing the ball around in t-shirt and shorts. Calm down, people. He got a ways to go. I didn't. I'm so tired of opening up Twitter in my algorithm. All I see is the report coming out of rookie minicamp is that Shador is number one. They don't know why he didn't go. We already know why he didn't go higher, y'all. He gonna have to prove himself, y'all. It's rookie mini camp, y'all. Slow down, okay? I don't know how many. I'll never forget. Some of these preseason game guys, like, oh my god, he gonna be a star. He gonna make the team. And he get cut. Like, oh my god, he was one of the last cuts. Ain't never hear from him again. He running for 100 yards in a scrimmage, and we then went crazy. Let's slow down on Shador. Y'all putting too much. And I think also this is probably one of the reasons why a lot of teams bypassed on Shador because they just already you could tell Stefanski they are like, so yeah, we heard Shador has been doing good. I mean, is he gonna be number 3 quarterback? Like, come on, man. The other guy did good too, yo. We just chill. All right, so
Deshaun Watson said that he's impressed with Shador
right.
Sanders.
Like, come
Deshaun
on.
Watson is impressed with anyone that doesn't have allegations.
Right? Like, come on, y'all. Stop. All right. And then the second, come on, yo. Look, man, you drivers out here on 95. Because 95 is one of my main thoroughfares to go back and forth from work. Get out of the fast lane if you're not going fast. If you're not in that lane to pass somebody, you are not supposed to be in the far left cruising. If you want to cruise, if you want to go slow, get in the middle lane or get all the way over on the right lane. But you should not be in the left lane going 55. The left lane, far left lane is for passing. It's for going at a speed a little higher. But you should not be camped out in the left lane. It just drives me crazy. You trying to get over, you trying to get by people, Calvin, and you got people over here just chilling in the fast lane. Living in the fast lane. But they're not driving a fast car. They're not doing like Bilal. They're in the fast lane, but they impeding me. I'm trying to rush to get home for the B.I.G show, and you in the fast lane slowing me down. Get out the fast lane. I'm all up on the back of your bumper. I'm flashing my lights, and it's like you can't see me back here. Get out. Calvin, I even do it. I get in the fast lane. I pass somebody. I see somebody speeding behind me. I move right on over. Go ahead, pal. You can have the fast lane. because I just wanted to get by the person. I'm not interested in going 80 the whole time. I just wanted to get by the guy. Go ahead, you can have the fast lane for yourself, and I get on out the way. And they look at me like, oh, you ain't gonna stay. No, I don't want you to run up in the back of me because I'm not supposed to be cruising in the fast lane. I'm only using it because I need to pass someone. So come on, yo, get out the fast lane. I'm through.
What Garland isn't telling you is that his driver must be off for the week, so he actually had to drive himself to Hartford Hills. Hey, anyway, another great show by the B.I.G.
Ain't nobody driving. Here go his driver right here. I turn my head around backwards. That's the driver. That's how I drive for Garland.
He goes up to Hartford Hills. driving Mr. Garland. Hey man, another B.I.G. show in the books.
Yes, sir.
We did some sports. We did some centers. We've been wanting to do centers for a while, so we're glad
we started with movies. We started, with all of that. So we still got it in us. Y'all thinking we I know we transitioned, but we still got it in us.
The music battles and everything.
And the Shy is coming back, so we might have to go ahead and take a peek at the Shy.
Shy's coming back. We got a lot of mad people that won't be breaking down shows anymore, so we might have to.
Congratulations to Ronnie. He's just been elected Pope. So our first American Pope from Chicago, Ronnie.
Hey man, you can see us live on Facebook right now. You can see us live on YouTube, and if you do, we're on all the podcast platforms. And if you have Spotify, you can see our beautiful faces on there. Hey man, let me play this outro before Garland gets that goddamn.
Look, I'm gonna have it next time. I'm gonna start with Ronnie's mustache.
Yo, you wild.
Oh my God. You have been listening to The B.I.G. Show. This show was produced and written by Calvin Coates and Garland Thomas for All Things Black Productions. Follow us on all of your podcast media platforms.
Hey man, later, Garland.
Peace, bro.